You've been trying to study a particular thing, but then it is not really sinking in. You've tried different methods, but none seem to work out. I've been in your situation before. I've tried a lot of things just to understand something that I'm trying to read, but none of it seemed to work well. Until I applied this particular technique, it completely changed everything because I was able to understand anything I want to learn at any point in time, and my grades improved drastically. And on this video, I'm going to be sharing with you that particular technique, and if you apply them, it's going to change everything for you because you won't only understand anything you need to study at any point in time, you also remember. I am Abayomi, and right here on this channel I drop in tips and strategies that can help you as a student learn better and improve in your academics. And if that sounds like something you are interested in, please consider subscribing to my channel right now. One significant technique you can apply in order for you to understand anything faster, which I tried, is that I learn from examples, that is analogies. Now anytime you are trying to learn, always think about how you can apply it to real life experience. If there is no way what you are reading hold on to real life experience, you will not understand. And this is the reason why it is like that. Your brain actually assimilates more things when it is held on to something that it has been familiar with before. So if your brain cannot connect it to something that is familiar before, whether it is an object or it is an experience that you've had in the past, it will not make any sense to you. Anytime you are trying to learn, always think about how it can apply to real life experience. What is that experience that you've had before that what you are reading now can be applied to? Let me take for example, now reading a concept in economics. I always use an example in economics because that is what I studied. You are reading a concept in economics, for example, in a market structure, and you read a particular theory in market structure which says that your average cost will always be below your price. Now, when you are reading that in the theory, it will not make any sense to you. But if you try to think about it in a realistic way, you as an entrepreneur, you are producing something and the cost of production is less than the price. In such a way that the cost of production is less than the price, and you as an entrepreneur, you are producing something to sell to someone. That means you are going to be earning abnormal profits. But if you don't look at it that way, it will always seem like as if you are learning something so abstract. So anytime you are trying to learn, always think about how you can apply it to real life experience. And there are textbooks that can help you do that perfectly. There are notes that your lecturer gives you in class that will not aid understanding. It only includes key points. So I will advise you to get more textbooks, and these textbooks we expose you to certain examples that will make you think in real life situations. And this example that I shared about real life experience cannot be applied to all concepts, because in a situation whereby you are reading a science subject, now what you are reading can be applied to a phenomenon or an object around you that you might have experienced at any point in time. And aside from even learning from examples, you can also use analogies. You can use objects, you can use things that are not even related to what you are learning to make it make sense to you. Now let me cite an example for you. You might be trying to learn a concept in mathematics, which is simultaneous equation. Now this simultaneous equation, you might be wondering that what does the word simultaneous mean, and how can I actually understand it well in order for me to be able to solve some certain things. If you think of it in this way, that simultaneous is something that happens at the same time, and you think about events that happens at the same time, then it will help you understand the word simultaneous. Another thing that helps me to understand anything I read faster is that I derive meaning from context. Now, there are times that you come across words that are foreign to you and you don't actually understand. And aside from even reading before exams or reading for exams, there are situations whereby you read some words in the exam hall itself and it doesn't mean anything to you. And at that point, you need to answer the question very well. So you don't have access to the dictionary, you don't have access to anything, but you need to answer the question. So what do you do in this situation? You have to derive meaning from the context. Now, there are words that you just come across in between a particular sentence. But what you do at that point is that look at the surrounding words and try to predict what the speaker or the writer is saying at that particular point in time. It can help you a lot at that point. So instead of getting worried about a particular word that you do not understand in order for you to understand something, try to read the whole sentence and try to predict what exactly is the writer or the author communicating at that point in time. Now, another thing that has really helped me a lot anytime I want to understand anything faster is that I build foundational knowledge. And foundational knowledge is very important because it is the bedrock of anything you want to study. Whether you are studying mathematics, whether you are learning mathematics, whether you are learning any subject at all, if you do not know the foundations, if you do not know the rudiments of that particular subject, it becomes difficult for you to learn the complex one. And I've said it not quite a number of times on this channel, and I'll keep saying it. If you do not know the foundation of anything you are trying to learn, learning becomes very, very difficult. So, in order for you to know the anytime you are trying to learn anything and it seems difficult, please go back to the foundation. That's a lot of benefits which will help you to understand anything you are trying to learn at any particular time. Imagine a house that you are building that does not have a solid foundation. The house will not stand well. So you have to take time to build the foundation very well, to get the right mixture of the concrete that is in the foundation, and start building the block one after the other. If those concrete down is not as strong as it should, then the whole building will collapse. And that is how anything you are trying to learn is. If your foundation is not strong and you are trying to build something, the whole thing will collapse and you still have to go back to the foundation. So it serves as a building block, and also it serves as a way for you to be able to deeply understand anything you are trying to read. Because if you know the foundation and you are reading from the complex aspect, it makes you look at it from a deeper level. It makes you look at it because you'll be able to connect information at that point in time, and it helps you see it in a different way when you are also learning from examples. So understanding something is just about connection, and if you cannot make the right connection anytime you are trying to learn anything, learning becomes very, very difficult. Another astonishing way that makes me understand anything I read faster is that I read more to understand better, because knowledge grows exponentially. Now, what do I mean by this? If you do not read more, there is no how your brain will be able to have certain knowledge kept in the brain for it to be able to be useful for you anytime you are trying to learn anything in the future. Take for example, you did not learn the concept of ABC when you were little. Now, and you are trying to form a word, it becomes difficult. So all those things are building blocks. And aside from even the concept of ABC, if you do not read more and if you do not have a bank of knowledge in your brain that you've been learning anything in the future becomes very difficult. So I will advise you to read more, because the more you read, the more you'll be able to understand, and the more you'll be able to discover that you don't know, because knowledge grows exponentially. So if you don't have anything in your brain, there's no how you can even understand anything, because there is nothing in your brain that your brain can connect to that will help you to understand anything. It has helped me a lot of times, and even till date, there are things that I've learned in school that I thought that, oh, this thing is not important. But one way or the other, when I'm reading something, I come across something like it. And because of the fact that I've been familiar with it in school, it becomes easy for me to be able to understand. And it can help you at any point in time. You never can tell which knowledge can help you to understand anything, because no knowledge is lost. At any situation where you find yourself, try to learn as much as you can, because you never know what will help you to understand, to learn in the future. Aside from that, it's also important to experiment with different methods in order to discover your unique style. Now, what are unique style? These unique style are called learning style. There are individual differences, and these individual differences are based on learning preferences. There are certain ways you just love to assimilate information, and if you use that particular thing, it becomes easy for you to be able to understand anything at any point in time. So if you are a student that you've not actually discovered your learning style, there is no how you'll be able to experiment. So we have different types of learning style. We have the kinesthetic learners, we have the auditory learners, we have the visual learners, and we have learners that prefer learning just by reading and writing. So out of all these learning style, experiment with each of these learning style and discover which one actually suits you, which one you like most. There are points that you might like two methods at the same time. It is not bad. And there are so these methods are just ways in which you prefer learning information, and it makes it easy for you to assimilate. So if you can discover, you will know what to use at any point in time that will make you understand anything you are trying to learn. This is what I discovered personally, and it has really helped me a lot. There are I use varieties of learning style in order for me to be able to understand something. But most especially, I use my reading and writing, and also I used the the auditory. I use the auditory learning at some point because I try to listen to what I'm trying to learn, and I also read and write it. So at that point, it makes me understand better. So another thing that actually helped me to understand faster at any point in time is that I focus on specifics rather than general. What do I mean by this? Anytime you are learning a particular thing, look at the specific concepts that makes up a general concept. Now, take for example in economics, you want to learn the concept of gross domestic products. You need to go in and learn how the government, the household, and the firms interact, and how they distribute resources in each of these economic units that makes up gross domestic product. So if you do not understand the specifics, there's no how you can understand the general. And also, even in mathematics, it helps you master specific formulas and how you can apply them before going to the general concept. And also, focusing on specifics rather than general helps you to avoid overload of your working memory. Because if you are trying to like grasp the whole general concept, it can be overwhelming. But if you start by looking at the specific tiny concepts or tiny detail of a particular broad concept, it reduces the tendencies of you forgetting it in your long time memory, and it helps you, it makes it easy for you to learn at any point in time, and it helps you remember and understand. So that is that. So after the whole concept of, there are certain things that you need to pay attention to in order for you to understand, aside from the concepts, aside from the methods that I explained earlier. And if you do not pay attention on this particular thing that I'm about to share, then all the things that I've been saying will not work. So the thing is that you should build up a growth mindset. And when it comes to growth mindset, there are specific things that you need to pay attention to. You need to embrace challenges. You need to understand that applying effort to learn something is actually normal. If anyone is telling you that you don't need to put effort in trying to learn anything, it is a lie. Another thing is that you should learn from mistakes, and you should always look out for feedback. Now, when it comes to ex- embracing challenges, while you are applying everything that I've explained earlier, challenges are bound to occur. There are times that it feels as if anything, all the things that I've been saying is not going to work. But it is your ability to embrace that challenge and not to give up that matters a lot. But if you give up and you keep telling yourself that you don't have the ability and you drop it, then you are not going to understand anything, and it seems as if what I'm saying is not going to work. So it is your ability to embrace challenges and keep going no matter what it is. And also, applying effort to whatever you are learning so can be very significant, because everything that I'm trying to tell you right now, in order for you to understand, it takes a lot out of you. It's going to take a lot out of you. And if you do not apply the required effort in order for you to learn, then there is no how you are going to learn. So it is very important for you to apply the required efforts. It is very important. And also learn from mistakes. Now, mistakes are bound to occur when you are learning all these things. So it is very important for you to look out for mistakes and try to learn from them, because it is these mistakes that will help you to know what you should do and what you should not do next time. And and also, from these mistakes, from these things that you are trying to learn, also look out for feedbacks, because it is feedback that you get from the mistake that you know whether what you learned worked or not. So I hope you got so much value from this video. If you did, please like the video and also subscribe to the channel. And also check out this other video on other tips that can help you understand and remember anything you learn at any point in time. So thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one.